What's good, guys? Welcome back. So I've been doing a lot of one-on-one lessons lately, and I've been getting this question a lot. And that question is, I've arranged my track, I've done some gauge staging, I've done, some processing, and I feel like it's ready to go. How do I make it sound good enough to send out to labels or to bigger artists so they can support me on their track stacks, or even just put it on Spotify, right? Or SoundCloud. How to make it sound good enough so it sounds good in the car, at the gym, when I'm hearing it on my headphones. There's many ways to get to that same answer, right? A lot of people just put a limiter on the master and call it a day because they've done a lot of processing on the individual tracks. And there's other people that, put a lot of things on the master channel. And the way I'm going to show you is going to be through the master channel. And the reason I came to this conclusion of why I'm going to show you how to do it this way is because I've been but on calls with a lot of smaller artists that are signed by big labels such as Nervous, Experts Only, Hellbent. They follow this similar process. I thought this was a really cool set of techniques, and it's really good for workflow. So with that being said, we'll dive into the details shortly. But before we do that, I want to go ahead and promote a song that I have out now. It's called Always Lovin'. It's available on all platforms. It's the song that you hear in the background right now. If you'd like to support my music journey and the channel, please go ahead and take a listen. Really appreciate you guys. So enough of that crap. Let's dive in. So speaking of my song, I'm actually going to be using the template that I made the song in as an example for this tutorial. And the first plugin that we're going to be talking about today is a plugin called Bassroom, and it's by Mastering the Mix. And by the way, guys, I'm not sponsored by any of these plugins. I would love to be one day. It would be an honor. But as of right now, I am not. I just enjoy their products. Just want to take a quick backtrack. The question is, who is this tutorial for? It's for producers that are on the road, that have a bunch of shows, that are really busy, right? And they need to maximize efficiency on getting their songs to sound good enough to send out. And so our job as a producer is to produce as many quality tracks as possible. And, we don't have time to be mixing and mastering engineer gurus and look through everything through a microscope, right? We want to produce and arrange tracks and make them sound as good as possible so we can send out and then get signed or have a brand, and that we can start paying these people that really focus in and are specialists to mix and master for us. But since we're not there yet, we're going to go through the chain that I developed in accordance to, having conversations with all these people and some of the technical skills that I know. So the first plugin we're going to be looking at, guys, is called Bassroom by Mastering the Mix. And I really enjoy this plugin because it helps you tame that low end. It gets you a nice balanced low end. It helps you sound good at the club, in the car, the girls' AirPod Pros, at the gym. And so I know in my other tutorials I talked about this plugin before, but this is how it looks like. So it comes with different bands, right? From 320 all the way to 0 hertz. And it covers a wide range of the lows and mid lows. And so what I like about this plugin is that it gives you certain markers to hit, and you just drag and drop, right? You're going to hit these orange markers here, the yellow marker, the green marker, the blue marker, and it's going to help you get a balanced mix on your low end. The way it works is that if you go here, you have presets that the company already has, and I think they do a great job. I've had a better personal experience leveraging these presets over a reference track. So you can go to, house, for example. That's the track we have here, and we'll go to commercial. The way you want to use this is you want to go to the loudest point of your track where the bass and the kick is going full throttle. It sounds like this. Oh, I gotta turn it on. And it gives you markers to hit. So what it does is it analyzes your track based off what a commercial house track to sound like, and then you move it to that area, and then it cleans up your low end, right? Now you have a nicer, cleaner low end as opposed to being overpowering and too heavy. But there's different presets, right? Like you can go like more tech house, progressive house, whatever you like. And it gives you different markers, right? So that's really cool. Another thing is, if you want to reference a track, you go here and you pick the loudest part of that reference track. So like, for example, I have my reference track up here, drag and drop. This is the section in green, and you just create targets. And then I just follow them. But like I said, I think the factory presets do a great job. I like them better than the referencing tool that they have here, but that's just my opinion. But this is a great way to kind of tame that low end towards the end of your process, right? And keep in mind, guys, this is for people that already have removed unnecessary low end from the hi-hats and the vocals and the synths and pianos and made space and respected the low end. And you already processed your low end, right? You put some saturation, compression already in the individual channel. So this isn't a fix-all thing. It's just more of like, hey, we're just trying to polish things at the end of the track. And this goes for all of these plugins. So I just wanted to remind you guys that. So this is Bassroom. We'll move on to the next one. All right, guys. So the next plugin is called Mixroom. It's by the same company and it has the same user-friendly concept. Now, this is going to be covering the remaining part of the range of your spectrum here. So it's going to go from 320 all the way to 20K, right? So it's covering the remaining portion of it. And this is a good referencing tool to help you EQ and make your track sound balanced based off of presets, or maybe if you want to throw like a reference track on here. But very similar, guys. If you're going to throw a reference track on here, make sure you're putting it at the loudest part of the song. Same thing with the presets. Like you have certain presets here for mastering. So if you want to go to classic, commercial, deep, you would put that here. It's going to give you markers to hit. Let me back up. I'm speeding up too much. It also has certain channels presets too. So if you want to use it on the individual channels, feel free to do that as well. But for this lesson, we're obviously talking about the mastering channel or mix bus. And so this is really cool. What you can do here is start playing it. And it gives you markers to hit. This is the green. So the green is where you want to try to aim, and that's where you want to move the bands. Now, I like to have this option here. It's really cool. It's called Add Smart Bands, right? And it gives you all the bands that, or it recommends pretty much. So the white is us, and the green is the area you want to hit. So play it and... So you would just do that for every single piece here, right? You'd be like, all right, cool. So you would mess with the Q here, right? And then obviously just drag towards you to make it louder and drag away from you to make it lighter. But you obviously, if you want to make it louder, bring it forward, and if you want to make it softer, put it all the way in the back. But essentially, you want to match it up with the green as much as possible, and then that's going to give you a nice balanced mix there. All right, guys. So the next thing we're going to talk about is Pro Q3, and you can use this with the regular Ableton EQ, by the way. But I'm just using Pro Q3 for what I'm about to do next, and I'll show you in just a second. But just remove anything 30 hertz and below. Like that's just going to be a bunch of rumbling and. Like you can't really even hear it, like, and it's gonna make everything sound cleaner, especially at the club when you're really loud and you're over 100 decibels. That's really gonna help you out. So just get rid of anything under 30 hertz. And then the second thing I like to do is reduce any harsh frequencies. So how do we do that? All right, let's say you open up a brand new Pro Q3. What I like to do is bring the Q all the way up, bring this high. So at this point, what I like to do is I like to start sweeping. So I would hold this headphone thing and just start sweeping. And look for those resonated frequencies like this. So then what I would do is I'll bring this back down to 0, and then I'll go to make dynamic, and I'll probably open this up a little bit, nothing too crazy. And then be careful here, guys. Make sure that you put it like 6 dB, and bring this down about maybe 4 dB or so. So as you can see, when it's peaking, it's bringing down that frequency. So it's not always in the same position. It's moving constantly. So it's not muffling things. Because when you use an Ableton EQ8, for example, and you bring this down, it's static, right? It's fixed. It's going to stay like that throughout the entire track unless we automate it. But if you want a dynamic version of that, it's constantly moving. Pumping almost, so it's helping reduce those harsh frequencies. What that's going to do is going to be easier to listen in your ears, right? Because who wants to listen to this shit? This thing here. Nobody wants to listen to that. And you can make your track louder, push the limiter louder, or the maximizer, which we're going to be using here. Tracks, you're going to have a perceived, or not perceived, it is going to be a louder track. And it's not going to be squashed with the limiter because of it. So I really like that. Now there's an easier way of doing this. You're going to have to go one by one and find maybe 5 or 4, or maybe up to 6 frequencies that you're not going to like, 6 different bands, right? And you have to keep sweeping and all that, which is good because you can really pinpoint and surgically remove things. But let's say you don't want to do that. You can also use Soothe2 or Gulfoss, Gulfoss. So this plugin and the other one are pretty good. I like the preset master by Goodwin, and just bring the depth a little bit up, and I put the mix to 60%, and it's just tucking all this stuff here. See? And that's just smoothing out those frequencies. So I really like Soothe. There's a lot of presets in here. I mean, you can look through all of them. That's just one that I picked. There's mastering advanced, and start here. and it's just making your track smoother overall. So I really like Soothe. It is a little pricey. I mean, so is this, but it's a little pricier. But at the end of the day, it's what you want. It works best in your workflow. And now we have this beauty right after Soothe, which is the Shadow Hills mastering compressor. I really like this one because it's a little more on the subtle side. So the preset that I use is the mastering medium PMG, and I think it does a pretty good job. You know, it does a good job on bringing things to life, right? Adding a little more color, but not squashing the hell out of it. So I'm a big fan of it. You can use this for, you know, individual channels too, or different bus channels, but I really like it for the mastering channel here. And then moving on to this beauty, another classic, which is the StandardCLIP by SIR Audio Tools. And this is just going to be a clipper. Purpose of this is to remove any type of transients or peaks, I should say, that may squash your mix in the limiter. And so you want to mix a space for that. I like to round things off with the soft clip Pro, but you can also do a hard clip and really just cut the crap out of the top here. So you'll see what I'm talking about. It's like a little haircut. I may want to turn this on. Bring this up a little bit. So everything in red is being cut. So what that's going to do is going to allow more room for you to boost the limiter more, right? So now you can really maximize and get some more volume if you need to. That's a hard clip. It's a soft clip. Me personally, I like to just round the edges off a little bit because there's less chance for distortion. And then I also throw the oversampling to 32. So this is going to help reduce any type of distortion. The distortion would sound like this. This is just an extreme case or example. Yeah, you just want the little tips right here. Obviously, the further you go down, that's going to sound like complete shit and distorted. So this is the other tool that I use to get a louder mix. The best way to do this is in the individual channel level, but who got time for that? I just did it this way instead. So, you know, good deal. All right, so the last thing I like to use, guys, is the Ozone 11. I think it does a great job overall. The way I use this is mainly for the limiter or the maximizer and then some stereo imaging. So one of the cool features that Ozone has, it has this little AI companion or tool or assistant view, whatever you want to call it, to kind of give you a baseline of where to start in your master chain. So what you want to do is go to the loudest part of your track, which very similar to Bassroom and Mixroom. You play it and then you push this to analyze it. So it sounds like this. Give it a second. And it boosts everything, the volume, dynamics. You'll see the volume change right now. Ready? And then it gives you how loud you want it, so you can put the loudness. Sounds a little squash though. This is less. And you can also mess with the EQ. And if you go here, it's going to give you the individual channels or the individual steps that it processes, right? So, for example, you have the EQ here, and it really boosted the highs. So you got to be careful with these things if it doesn't boost the lows or highs too much. Be careful with that. It has all sorts of other things that come into here, but what we're really going to be focusing on is going to deactivate that. We're going to look at the imager. So this is something that I actually wanted to really cover. So the AI thing here is cool, but here's the problem. It overdoes it with the stereo imaging, and that can cause some phasing issues at the club, especially. So even though it's still mono compatible, as you can see, it's +1. We don't want to overdo this stage. So the first thing I do here is bring down the first band, the low end, to make sure that it's in mono 100%. Then I bring this all the way down to about a 4, maybe 0. And then here you can kind of mess around with the stereo imaging a little bit. I'll put it like around here just to get a little bit of width, you know, not too boring. So we'll hear it. And now we have a line more in the center, right? And all this information is not just going splashing everywhere. It's more in the center direction. And this little area, this little piece of the pie, that's where we want most of your stuff to sit. Here, towards the middle. I'm very conservative on my stereo imaging. I don't want to overdo it, but some people like to overdo it, and it's a risk if you overdo it. So as long as you're within this little piece of the pie right here and it's +1, you're okay. So that's what I do. The clarity is just kind of like a dynamic EQ thing to kind of make things brighter. You can leave that if you want or not. Stabilizer, very similar to what Soothe is doing. So a lot of the things are kind of repetitive, so I'll take that off. This is just kind of similar to what Soothe is doing too, or the Pro Q3, so we could take that off. And this is the maximizer. This is really the what I really want to emphasize here, because this is what's making the volume change, right? So look at without. It's kind of bringing it to life, making it loud, making it powerful. So right now we're 9 dBs above where we were, because obviously, remember, I actually haven't mentioned this in this video, but a rule of thumb is when you're creating a track, you want to start with the volume very low. Like, not very low, but low. And then you work way up, because you're going to be boosting the volume at the end anyways. So this is an example of that. And you don't want to go too hard, because then your sound's you're gonna sound very squashed. So this is Ozone 11. I really like it. I mainly use it for the stereo imaging and the maximizer, which is a limiter at the end. You're able to push things and get loud. That's all I use it for, really. But this is a good baseline if you want to use the AI tool to create, you know, some brightness with the clarity, maybe like get some stabilizer, and use any of these other options that you have, right? So really cool plugin. You can use that as a standalone, not a standalone, but just this on your master channel, you'll be fine. But I like to use all these other things to, you know, clean things up or make it sound more polished. So that's Ozone 11. So I also use this plugin called Tonal Balance Control, right? It's by Isotope as well. And this gives you a range where you kind of want to hit within the spectrum, right? And there's different presets. Obviously, we're going to choose EDM, and pretty much like your low end has to fall here, your low mids or your high mids, they all have to be within this range. And it's a good sanity check. Most importantly, if things sound good, you're good, right? That's the best thing. But as a sanity check, let's take a look at this. And remember, guys, always trust your ears, because this could be looking nice, but it might not have the punch and power that you want. So, you know, that's something you want to keep in mind there. But let's take a look, because sanity check. Yep, we're in a pretty good area here. So it sounds good, it feels good, looks good. And also very similar, you want to put this at the loudest part of the song, right? To get a good reference of where you're at. So don't forget that. All right, last but not least, guys, I like to use metric AB to go ahead and compare it to a reference track. So the track I chose is I Want You by Nick Fanciulli and Butch. And I thought it's a really great track. It's really popular. I like the way it sounds, it feels, the mix and so forth. So at the end, I'll go ahead and apply that reference track here. I'll put match the gain to my track, or match volume, and it's going to have a similar volume to the track that we have here. So we'll have that, and we obviously looped it to the drop, or the last part of the song, so that way we can get a good reference. And there's different things that you have here too, like spectrum, right? You have a spectrum analyzer, correlation, like stereo imaging, and you can see, like, you know, how mono-compatible your song is, all that fun stuff, dynamics to see if it's squashed or not. But the real reason I have this is to check the loudness. So the loudness is really important, guys, because you can bump it up here, but you don't have a reference to see how loud you really are. And so we have to see that here. So the goal is in LUFS, right? So it's going to be translated into LUFS. And there's going to be different types that we're going to be looking at here. Loudness range, short term, momentarily. But what we're really going to be focused on is the integrated one here. And we're trying to get to like -8. And the reason it's -8 is from all the conversations I had, this is key because you want to be competitive and loud at the club, but you also, you know, want to have it for streaming services. Now, mind you this, Spotify and a lot of, you know, big like iTunes and stuff like that, I think it's -16 LUFS for iTunes, and for Spotify it's -14. I was really afraid at first that if I was going to put it on, you know, as a self-release like DistroKid, or I was going to go on SoundCloud Pro, I was going to put my song out, that was going to be all squashed because it was at -8. And no, it's not squashed at all. Even though I exported at -8 LUFS, Spotify automatically brings it down to -14. Now, the reason I say to do it at -8 too is right now, as of today, Spotify has a -14. But what about tomorrow? They're like, you know what? what are we doing here? Let's put it at -8, right? And then next thing you know, you export it at -14 levels, and now your track's not loud anymore. There's a risk of that. I'm sure they'll have something to take care of the differences for the other tracks. But yeah, the point is you want to be competitive, and I like to aim for a -8. A lot of these artists have recommended to do -8 because it's competitive, it's loud. So if it's too loud, guys, what you'll do is go into the maximizer in Ozone 11 and start bringing down the gain. And click it again. Bring it out to -8 and you're good. By the way, the integrated is going to be the overall loudness. It's not going to be in that specific section, right? It's going to be more of a long-term loudness. So it takes everything into consideration. So something that, you want to take yourself into consideration when you're looking at all these different types of information. But there's different meters and there's different plugins you can use to measure the loudness. I think Waves has one too, which is cheaper than this one, I believe. I think it's called WLM meter or something like that. So that's also a good option. But yeah, guys, this is just my process overall on how to, get your song ready to rock and roll to play live. And like I said, there's many ways to get to the same answer. Obviously this is a tutorial, so I can't go I'm not gonna go super into depth because there's a lot to cover for each individual one, but and it all depends on the song too, guys. So just wanted to share this with you, and this is the conclusion I came up with when talking to a lot of these small artists that are signed and they're touring and they're getting paid and they don't work jobs and they do music full time. So I wanted to share that with you guys, and I hope it's helpful. I'm probably gonna mention later in the outro, but if you have any suggestions or any tips for the community to follow, or if you have your own mastering chain that's freaking awesome that works best for you on average, just put that down there and put the signal flow order as well, right? The order of which plugins go. So that way the community and everyone in the comments can see that. So big thanks, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Well, I'll see you in the outro video because I recorded before because, we're efficient out here. That's what we do. All right, guys. So like I said, there's many ways to get to the same answer. This is just a way that I've compiled as far as from an efficiency standpoint. So if there's a certain chain or a certain process that you follow, please put that down in the comments. We're all a community trying to help each other. And if you found this video useful, please consider subscribing. And if you'd like to support the channel, we also have some sound banks for sale to help you out with your production. A lot of Serum preset, a lot of drum loops, textures, and all that stuff to help you support Make Bangers. So the links are all down below. Once again, guys, thank you for watching and thank you for supporting us. And before I forget, we also have a podcast out now. I'll also put the link for that below. It's called Croco Talk. So we're trying to get some other artists to come in and join the podcast. But yeah, so thank you guys very much, and I'll see you next time.